Can Donald Trump actually redact his own name from the Epstein files? That's the big question tonight, and the law he just signed gives us some answers. The president has signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which means the files must be released within 30 days. And I did find it interesting we didn't have all the cameras surrounding him for this signing of his presidential signature, because he usually loves to have the cameras there. But to be honest, that's the least of concerns for voters in the US who have been demanding the release of these files. And this has come from people on both sides of the political spectrum. After fighting for so long to try and make the issue go away, many have wondered why Trump has backed down and backed the release of the files. Now, was it because he knew he'd lost control of Republicans on the issue because they were going to pass it without his approval? Or has his team come up with a plan to keep his name out of the spotlight when the files are released in 30 days? What we do know is that Speaker Mike Johnson did not expect the bill to pass through the Senate so quickly, let alone as a unanimous vote. Johnson wanted changes to the bill and expected Senate Republicans to make the changes he wanted, despite the bill passing Congress 427 to 1.
I made clear for months that I thought there were serious flaws in the underlying bill, and I had hoped that the Senate would work to fix and correct those. They decided to go a different direction. That's their prerogative. I was surprised and disappointed by that. But overall, I mean, the bill has passed. Congress has spoken. And, we did what was necessary. I hope it brings comfort to the victims and the survivors.
Now, despite voting for the bill, Johnson hoped the Senate would make the changes he had been demanding. He believes the bill has insufficient protections for victims and innocent individuals. Well, at least that's what he's saying. And he warned that the bill would compel rapid release of documents that might include classified or sensitive national security material. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, though, he shot that down. Despite also being a Republican, Thune said he and Senate GOP legal counsel decided the legislation was sufficient. So what does the bill actually do, and can Trump use it to suppress his name? Let me take you through it. The Act forces the DOJ to release all unclassified records about Epstein, Maxwell, flight logs, associates, government officials, the lot. That's stated directly in the legislation. No record shall be withheld or redacted due to embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity, including to government officials or public figures. On the surface, that sounds airtight. You can't hide names simply because it's embarrassing, even if that name is Donald Trump. But here's where redactions can still happen. The law still allows for redactions in the cases of active federal investigations, ongoing prosecutions, classified national security information, victim identities, child sexual abuse material. Now, these are the legal pathways that could still conceal names. Before the vote even took place, respected journalist Ken Klippenstein, he reported the national security classifications have already been raised around portions of Epstein-related documents. Now, the Democrats have tried everything they can to minimize the ability to redact information by the addition of this clause. All redactions must be accompanied by a written justification published in the Federal Register and submitted to Congress. So while the process is tougher, according to the legislation, that doesn't mean there won't be attempts to suppress information implicating the president and Republicans. In fact, recently a Department of Justice official was caught on hidden camera claiming GOP names will be redacted from the files. Acting Deputy Chief Joseph Schnitt, he was caught on camera after meeting up with a reporter he met on a dating app, Hinge. He thought this was a date. It was an undercover sting.
Those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
I think they visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender. They're offering her something to keep it on show.
Now, the Department of Justice distanced itself from those comments, and he himself said that, he wasn't talking about any information he saw. He was just going off media reports. But let's come back to it. Can Trump redact his name or not? Based strictly on the embarrassment rule, no, he can't. The act was written to stop political figures hiding behind redactions. So that part is solid. But based on the investigation loophole, the classification loophole, and the DOJ's final say over what is active or sensitive, yes, there are legal pathways his name could still be withheld. Trump didn't veto the bill, which was interesting. Politically, he had no choice but to sign it. But the fight is now over what gets blacked out. If you're expecting full, crystal clear transparency, well, there's a real chance you're going to be disappointed. The files will be released, but it might be the redactions that tell the bigger story.
McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. McKnight Tonight. I'm going to have a drink.